Hey guys, so Shane here from Laser Gaming, and in this video I will be sort of talking about everything that I think is wrong with Star Wars Battlefront in its current beta state. Now obviously this is a beta, and they did say this is more a technical test than sort of a weapon balance test and stuff like that, but I'm still going to go through a bunch of things that I think should be fixed in the beta. So the first thing, and also I do like the game, this isn't going to be some sort of like roast of Star Wars Battlefront.
Ladies and gentlemen, and people who have wandered in from the Chinese wedding next door, welcome to the roast of Peter Griffin with your roast master, Glenn Quagmire.
Thank you very much.
I really do like the game. These are just some small things all across the board, some of them actually are fairly big, that I think should be fixed to make the game even better than it already is. So the first thing are these spawns. On both games, Drop Zone and Walker Assault, these spawns are terrible. In Drop Zone, you can spawn behind enemies constantly, and you can spawn behind even 3 or 4 enemies while they just spawn there, and they're running just in front of you. You can easily take them down. As well as this in Walker Assault, you can run around sort of that hill. You can run around it and get into the enemy spawn, and while you're in their spawn, they will continue to shoot you. I don't know if this could be fixed by either making the Imperials not be able to push up as far, or just making sure that when guys are there, the rebels spawn farther back, or even farther forward. Just because it's annoying, frankly, when you try to do this flank route, and you're shooting the enemies, you're behind them, and then a guy spawns like a foot behind you and just shoots you. There's no way to be able to predict that. He's just so close that he will win that gunfight every single time. The next thing is grenade spam. So because the grenade cooldown is only 7 seconds, if you live for a minute, you're going to get 8 grenades. This is kind of crazy, 8 grenades. This is the max, obviously, if you throw them instantly. I generally use like 3 or 4 grenades per life, and if I go on a long streak, I can use like 8 grenades, which I find pretty ridiculous considering how strong the grenades are in this game. I just think it should be reduced to either 10 seconds or even 12, or they could put a cap on the amount of grenades, which I don't really suggest them doing. I don't think that's the best idea, but increasing the cooldown would be a good fix for this. Another thing is a lot of the vehicles, like the AT-ST, the AT-AT, most of the jets and sort of TIE fighters don't have a first-person view, and this kind of sucks because when you're shooting these vehicles in third person, the bullets don't go exactly straight, especially on the AT-AT when you're shooting with the, I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but it's the big like 2-burst sort of tank. They're the equivalent of like a tank shell, and that just does not fly straight, and it's really frustrating. Even though the AT-AT is very powerful, it's just annoying the fact that these do not fly straight. Same with the AT-ST. And I honestly haven't flown the air vehicles too much because I'm just not very good in them, and I don't really enjoy it that much, but I assume it'd be the same in these too. If these have a first person view, it'd be really cool because, or just fix how they shoot in third person, because it's just very annoying to have missing these shots. So the next thing I will be talking about is sort of the zooming that you get when you ADS in Star Wars Battlefront. So you zoom in a little and it looks like your bullet spread tightens because the hipfire reticles tighten up when you zoom in, right? Wrong. There's no difference in the bullet spread at all between hip firing and zooming. And I think this should be fixed because zooming reduces your movement, reduces everything. There's really no benefit to zooming. I think when you zoom, you should still be able to move back and forth a little more. You should be able to strafe a little more because there's really no reason not to zoom, and it just frankly makes it annoying for people that don't know this. They sort of just zoom anyway, and it sort of just reduces the quality of play and the level of play that they can achieve in this game. Next is the Imperials are flat out overpowered on Walker Assault. I know that in the movie the Imperials destroy the rebels in Walker Assault. The rebels should be able to take down the Imperials more. Maybe they should reduce the spawn time of the AT-AT and the AT-ST so that it's not as easy for them to just get the AT-AT and the AT-ST just get such easy kills. And if they could reduce the spawn time on that, that would be a great way to fix it. But yeah, that's an issue that they definitely do need to address in this because it's very hard to win as the Rebels on Walker Assault. I'm not saying it's impossible, and I have done it quite a few times, but it is very hard. Next thing is to increase the skill gap. Now, for those of you who don't know, the skill gap is basically the gap between the worst players in the game and the top players in the game, sort of the middle players as well. There's a very small skill gap because one of the things that they really didn't do in this game was have weapons with decent amounts of recoil. The weapons have really low recoil, and this reduces the skill gap, which means that it's harder to differentiate yourself between a medium player and a elite player, and it's really easy to become a medium level player, a mediocre player, which I think should be changed. The weapon should have more recoil, and there should be still some guns that have low recoil for those who can't control the recoil, but the ones that do have high recoil should be very rewarding for those who are able to wield those weapons. And the last thing that I'm going to talk about, which is a small thing, is that the heroes are laggy in this game. The heroes are fairly laggy. Obviously, this will probably be fixed when it comes out, but the heroes just did seem unfinished for the beta. But they do have another month to develop, so this isn't too big of a deal. And finally, I think that I didn't really fly too much, but whenever I did, I just found that the spawns when flying weren't very good. You spawn right in the action, where in something like Battlefield, you spawn quite a ways back and have time to sort of regroup, readjust yourself, get acclimated with the controls before you get right into the action. And I think that they should spawn a bit farther back, and the fact that when you're flying, I just find it kind of hard to control. You can either go super fast and lose your turning, or go super slow, and there's really no middle ground when you're controlling your vehicle. But I did not fly too much, so take everything that I say about flight with a grain of salt. That's been it for this video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy this Star Wars Battlefront video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe down below for much more content on everything Star Wars Battlefront. That's been it for this video, guys, and thanks for watching.